In the heart of Prague's old town, in the majestic Church of St. James, lies an extraordinary story of mercy and hope, but also of greed, theft, and chopped-off human parts. It tells the story of a wooden statue of the Virgin Mary that miraculously moved to help a poor boy in need. According to the legend, on one cold winter day, a long time ago, a hungry and freezing orphan entered the Church of St. James. He prayed in tears before the statue of the Virgin Mary, begging for help. To the amazement of all present, the statue moved, reached for her golden necklace, and gave the boy a ducat. This act of mercy changed the boy's life forever and became a legend that is still told today. As you can imagine, after this event, the statue was considered miraculous and became very famous around the city. Faithful Praguers began coming to the church, bringing her gifts, pearls, and even gold, in hope that she would grant them their wishes and cure them of illnesses, and perhaps even perform another miracle. But the Virgin Mary at St. James could also be a strict and merciless guardian. Another legend says that sometime in the early 1600s, something quite terrifying happened that proved this reputation all too well. By then, the statue was draped in many necklaces, gifts from supplicant believers. The gold and pearls on her altar naturally attracted greedy thieves, and one particularly bold thief decided he would manage to steal the valuable jewels from the miraculous statue. One night, he hid in the church before closing time and waited until everybody was gone and the church was closed and quiet. Then he made his move. He crept up the steps of the marble altar and climbed to the beautifully decorated statue hung with pearls. The thief did not hesitate for a moment. With his sweaty hand, without regret or shame, he reached for the pearl necklace, trying to tear the string from the sacred wooden statue. He was drawn by the sight of a large loot. Enough, he thought, to buy him a carefree life outside. But as soon as his thin, dirty fingers closed around the pearls, something completely unexpected happened. In a split second, a mysterious and tremendous power was unleashed. The motionless wooden arm of the statue moved with lightning speed and caught the intruder. Her wooden fingers gripped the thief's wrist with enormous force and refused to let go. The sinner was caught fast, as if in a freezing vice. The thief was trapped at the altar with no chance of escape. He began to cry out in pain to the whole church for help. His screams echoed through the temple, but the statue would not release him. The next morning, when the warden unlocked the church door, he was met with an unusual sight. The thief, kneeling in tears at the high altar, his hand still trapped in the statue's grip. The warden ran for the monks at the neighboring monastery, but no one could free the thief from that holy wooden hold. As a last resort, they called the master butcher from the nearby Butchers' Guild, who declared that the arm would have to be cut off. As soon as the arm was severed, the statue loosened her grip and returned to her original pose, as if nothing had happened. The severed arm was then hung on a butcher's hook at the entrance of the church as a permanent punishment, a warning to all who might be tempted by the sin of theft. To this day, it still hangs there. And the thief? He served his prison sentence, and when he was finally released, he returned to the monastery. Not as a prisoner this time, but to beg the monks to take him in as a servant. He wanted to spend the rest of his life atoning for what he'd done. Whether they accepted him, the old story doesn't say for certain. But it said that this happened, and the arm is still there. It hangs on a chain inside the church, immediately to the right of the entrance, about 4 meters up the wall, high enough that you have to tilt your head back to really see it. Below it, a small sign tells the story, in case anyone walking past wonders what exactly they're looking at. The Basilica of St. James the Greater sits on a narrow side street called Mala Stuparska, easy to miss, which is strange because it's one of the largest churches in Prague. It has 23 altars and is beautifully decorated. Its pipe organ has over 8,000 pipes, the biggest in the city. The acoustics are so good that concerts are still held here almost every week. But nobody comes for the organ. Tourists come for the arm. It hangs immediately to your right as you enter, high up near the ceiling. If you're not looking for it, you'll walk straight underneath it and never know. But once you see it, you cannot unsee it. And this legend has yet another strange addition. In June of 1689, an enormous fire swept through Prague's old town. It was said to have been arson, orchestrated by agents of the French king Louis XIV, trying to destabilize the Habsburg Empire. The fire was catastrophic. It destroyed 700 houses, 6 churches, and 10 synagogues. St. James burned to the ground. The original Gothic structure was gutted, its interior annihilated, but the arm survived. When the church was rebuilt in lavish Baroque style, the arm went right back up. It had already been hanging there for several decades before the fire, and it would hang for 3 more centuries after. So, let's do what we always do: separate the legend from the history. The arm itself is real. It's a genuine, mummified human arm, verified and documented, hanging in that church for approximately 400 years. But the story of the statue coming to life, the amputation as divine justice, historians have searched for evidence. There's no contemporary court record, no named thief, no account from the 1600s that confirms this exact sequence of events. The first written versions of the miracle story appear much later, long after the arm was already hanging there. Which raises the question, if the miracle didn't happen, how did a human arm end up hanging on a chain in a church? The answer is probably simple and quite dark. In the 1600s, publicly displaying body parts in Prague was standard practice. When the Habsburgs executed 27 nobles for rebellion in 1621, they mounted several of their heads in iron baskets on Charles Bridge, left there for years as a warning. They displayed severed hands, ears, tongues. These weren't just punishments, they were civic announcements written in flesh. So the most likely explanation is that this severed arm belonged to an executed thief, caught and punished through the ordinary brutal justice system of the era. Church authorities displayed it at the entrance as a warning: don't steal from God. The miracle story came later, an embellishment layered on top of a grim, practical display. A moving statue is a much better story than "we hung a dead criminal's arm from the ceiling as a warning." It's way more dramatic, and it worked. 400 years later, we're still telling it. I'm the Prague historian, uncovering the myths and the facts behind the legends. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow, and there are so many more Prague stories I want to uncover for you. New episodes every week. I'll see you in the next one, where we step into the world of Prague's legend about the murder of Jan Nepomuk and how touching his statue on Charles Bridge brings you good luck. Or does it?